People, good night. It is the eve of Christmas Eve.
So Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Sorrel a beat, and I want to have sorrel. I don't share sorrel with anybody else, but so it goes.
Sorrel
yeah, man. So I have to make some sorrel tonight, I guess. I have the ingredients. I just want to make it good. Anyway, so Christmas season, gentlemen. Christmas shopping finish and everything. How that go?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I don't start yet. Actually, I don't Christmas shop. I don't Christmas shop at all. And Nikki buy all the gifts, and me and she don't get each other gifts. We haven't gotten each other Christmas gifts in at least 10 years. I mean, she buy whatever she wants all year long anyway. So
that's what I said.
Exactly. So why bother?
Nick was always like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I get what I want." I mean,
exactly. So. Yeah, I mean, years ago we decided, what we'll instead of that, we'll just like take a trip someplace. But no trip. Actually, we are taking a trip coming up soon for the first time in a while. Anyway, so welcome to another edition of Just Reason. Christmas Eve. Bag of things to talk about as usual. Tonight we have Mr. Tex. We have Special all the way from Dubai as usual. We're supposed to have a few other guests on here, but things come up at this time of year, so hey.
Move so y'all can see my Christmas tree back there. You see it?
Yeah, man. That's like a bush. I like a ganja bush back there. Anyway, so tonight was supposed to be the opening night for the Houston Rockets. The NBA started last night overall, but tonight was supposed to be the Rockets opening night. So a few hours ago, I see a message saying that the Rockets game has been postponed due to a COVID outbreak on the team. So, apparently there's at least one player on the team who tested positive, and a few other players who were around him who tested negative, but due to contact tracing and all that, that quarantine, and so they didn't have enough, So that's one part of it. The other part of it is the James Harden piece, where, so this morning I get up and get on Facebook and say everybody, everybody making excuses for Harden again. I'm like, what happened? So apparently some video surfaced of him in a club, which I don't know exactly what the COVID rules and protocols are, but I guess you're not supposed to be in a, I don't know exactly, I don't know what the black and white letter of the law says, but that was against the rules. And, he was in some club, and so then he responded saying, because people were saying James is in a strip club. And so he thought his killer comeback was, well, it wasn't a strip club, it was just a club. That's not the point.
Hey, we need to call K Rich and get him on the line.
Oh, Lord, no.
Yeah, go on. I'm going to try to get him on.
Yeah, so, anyway, the NBA, even if the Rockets had played tonight, the NBA would not have let Harden play because he broke the COVID rules. So I think, a lot of things have been going on around Harden in the past few weeks. Like, if you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here. But, a lot of these incidents kind of coming up, it's getting in the way, right? I mean, you as a professional, you know the deal, you know what the rules are. So if the rules say you can't go club, then you can't. It's not just any regular year, so you have to move a little different. And so his defense was like, I'm just in a club, people making a big deal of it. And so, he got fined, like $50,000, which is, a couple dances for Harden. So that's no big deal. But the bigger thing to me is, if you don't want to be here, then At first I was like, he's too good of a player to try and move him. No, I'm kind of sick of the sideshow. If we can't get anything close to equal value for Harden, I'm cool with moving on. I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired of, the whole thing. So, what to say about Mr. Harden? Tex.
No, Gone special. I'm trying to see if I can get K Rich on it.
Yeah, he ain't talking about nothing.
Some guys can only operate in our bubble. You have to micromanage some guy or they're not going to be here. Especially the man where I make a whole heap of money. So they don't really have enough things to hack them. So they can just do what they can do for their job because they know that guy always go shell out money from them. Right? Him really act like him don't really want to be here. Right?
Yeah.
But me I gonna need him to be a little bit more professional than that. Because no matter how good you be, if you can't behave, you can still get sacked. You can still get right. Me remember a whole heap of soccer players we couldn't behave. Right? Bartoletta couldn't behave. And then, right? And I mean, you have quite a few others. So you can be a professional player and get dropped. So don't think you're good if they can't drop you. Not because Houston need you right now, but you can go on better, man. Load the chicken and the wings in a strip club.
Hey, he said it wasn't a strip club. It was just a club. I got you. It wasn't a strip club. It was a club.
You can't Uber some wing stop, my youth.
Man,
but,
there is, so I was saying that I was talking about this on Facebook earlier. I mean, there's a reason why you don't see LeBron's name mixed up in things like this. Kevin Durant, Giannis, right? You don't see these kind of players mix up with this kind of things. Look, have your fun when it's off season and what have you. But my thing is always with Harden, it's like him love that life too much. And yes, he can ball. Yes, he can, do what him do and come out and give you 30, 40 points a game. Cool, can do all that. But there's a reason why he hasn't gotten to the next level as these others have. It's because he's not all in, And to me, I think we kind of seen what he is. He's next game Harden playing probably going to score 50 points. Right? But that don't mean anything. Because you as the leader, you need to be the example. Not just on the court, your overall attitude and your preparation, the way you go out there each and every night, the first one at practice, be there, stay late, all that thing, all that translates to the team overall. I think that's what's missing. So, I'm tired of the sideshow. But
I mean, all the things that you just mentioned are those attributes that take players to the next level. Best one-on-one player in the game. I mean, no doubt. But I actually think that at this point in time, he's the number 2 option on the team because you need somebody with all the attributes you just said in order to lead. He's not a leader, okay? He can score the ball, yeah, no doubt. But as far as being a leader, like, we grew up watching killers like Jordan, Magic, Bird. Like when, the game is on the line or it's the playoffs or whatever, you can go to this person and they're going to rally the troops and they're going to get the dub. LeBron, like you said, these type of people. So does he have that? No. So with all that's going on, and basically he's a product of the last regime. I mean, they let him get away with whatever he wanted to. You understand what I'm saying? So the last straw for me was, showing up. I think he went through the correct protocol and everything for COVID and, did his tests and things like that. But he looked like he was 20 pounds overweight. I mean,
you can't show up chubby.
You're a professional athlete. Your body is how you get paid. They offer you like $50 million a year. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm always giving them the benefit of the doubt, until things come out. And, we were having a discussion earlier and you and K Rich are going back and forth. And I was like, let me see what happens, his side and things like that. Then once the NBA came out and fined him, I was like, he lying.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna find you. They're not gonna find if you follow all the protocol.
Yeah.
They're not gonna find you. You know what I mean? So basically, they researched and found out what really went on, and he got fined. You know, I'm all for the player. If you know, stories are gonna come out. Yeah, you can see pictures, and they could be, you know, misleading. So you always want to get the player side and say, okay, let me give him a side. You know, let him tell us what's going on. And he made a statement. I was like, okay, well, the man said he wasn't at a strip club. It was less than 15 people, whatever. And no sooner
I was in VIP.
No sooner did I rest my case on that, I get a ruling from the NBA saying that they fined him 50 grand. Like, what? Bro.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's you too old for that. Nah. You know, that's something them young dudes do, you know, and you know they
way too old for that
and things like that. It's time
way
to
too old
championship. You know what I mean? So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the best season we ever had was when Chris Paul was on the team, because he is that guy. He is that leader. He is the one. For one, he will get on your ass if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. He will lead not just on the court. He will lead off the court in his preparation and all that. So when we came within a Chris Paul injury of beating Golden State and going to the finals, it was because Chris Paul was on the team.
Yep.
James Harden will never, look, I would say this, he will never lead a team to a championship, even to the finals. He may be on a team. Well, he's been to the finals, right? With OKC, but he will not be the lead person on any team, you know, that gets to the finals and wins a championship.
That's why he wants to join the Nets. The pressure will be off. You understand what I'm saying? You know, KD or Kyrie will lead, and you know, he can just fall in place.
Shit, that's why KD left. That's why KD left the first.
Or because Russ shoots the ball every time he gets it.
Potato. KD think it's another. Anyway, so look, I'm a Rockets fan through and through. But you know, but you know, if you don't want to be here, and there's one thing, like you don't want to be here, mentally, but you still go up there and you give it your all anyway. Because I remember right before the Rockets won the championship, probably around 92, 93, Akeem had it. He was ready to go. And he was ready to be traded. He hated the management. But he was still going out there and balling every night. You know, and then eventually they decided not to trade him, thank God. But Harden's not even doing that. You know, he's acting like he doesn't want to be here. He's not just saying it. His actions show that. So, anyway.
I read that he got into a fight with one of the players or whatever, you know, verbal confrontation the other day. And I saw a lot of people on social media posting, oh, that's good. You know, that means he's fighting for... Come on now. Stop.
Yeah, you know.
That man don't want to be here. And
you know,
that's the reason.
He's certainly acting like it.
Yeah.
So, hey, I bet he won't run up on Boogie though. yeah. You know who to pick your fights with. Anyway, that's our.
Most players in the NBA won't run up on Boogie.
Most dudes in the streets. Most dudes in the streets not running up on Boogie. Our obligatory Trump news. I'm just kind of. Kind of just blew up the whole stimulus thing, right? The whole after Congress negotiate, to get $600 of stimulus. Democrats had passed a bill with $1,200 some months back. Republicans didn't want to move, and so they finally got together and they come up with $600 they're going to give out. That's going to get the economy booming again, and finally agree. Now Trump coming at the last second after they sign it and say, no, I need it to be $2,000. Besides the fact that he was absent the entire time during the negotiations, now him say it's going to be $2,000, I'm not going to sign it. I know not going to happen, but the Democrats call his bluff, and so we'll see what happens. But
they tried to push it. Push it through.
Yeah. Yeah, this man is just it's time for him to go. We have what, 27 days? Something like that.
Not so long?
Yeah, man. It's like this is the longest transition period ever. I mean, we need to do like in Jamaica or any other, parliamentary democracy where as soon as them lose, the next day them gone. So
Yeah,
man. The next day them gone.
you need to have an exit interview, man.
No. All right. So, but is that? It's maybe like 1 or 2 days, and then you're gone. Not these 2 months.
But you have to understand, You have to
Nah.
I will because him alone are going on. He might carry everybody with him. So you have to leave the notes and tell where we are going with the country. You can't carry everything with you.
So how that work in every other country then? How England do it? Well, the next day they're gone.
England people would have probably more open to share stuff even when they're not in the office. So them not say that I go on there, so they must say, okay, you have to stay and start deal with it before you left. You have to start tell with some information. What kind of plans that come down the pipeline? Need to be nobody because the whole cabinet are left now. They're not left nobody. Again,
they do it in England in a day or two. Why it has to be 2 months here? It's no difference. Anyway, and you know what? And it's not really an issue of the timing. It's really an issue of the person. Because this has never been an issue before.
No.
From Bush to Obama, from Clinton to Bush, it has never been an issue. Even from Obama to Trump, it was never an issue. Like, no, this madman. Anyway. So there you go. Anyway, so does Trinidad need to build a wall?
Build a wall now?
What is that, Tex? Trinidad need to build a wall around. So do they build it around Trinidad or around Trinidad and Tobago? How it go?
Where that wall gonna sit? On an island. Where you gonna put that wall? Because it's just gonna go around it.
Anyway. Being facetious, obviously. But the reason why this has come up is there is an ongoing crisis in Trinidad. Really, the crisis is in Venezuela. So,
excuse me.
Hey, send one for me to them.
So come. Yacht dash.
All right. So the crisis is this: Venezuela. Just a humanitarian crisis. The economy has crashed. Human rights violations, all sorts of things, where the people of Venezuela are fleeing because they can't survive there. And so as a result of that, you have, thousands of Venezuelans, seeking a better life. And so where they're going north. The closest place is going to Trinidad. And so thousands of, Venezuela, any way they can get out of there, they're doing that. So a few weeks ago, a boat left Venezuela with, I think, about 28 people on board, like 16 kids, I think 12 adults. And, they got into some kind of trouble and the boat sank, everybody died. And so, there's a big problem going on there. And so Amnesty International so Trinidad, they have welcomed, I think I said there are probably about 40,000 Venezuelans living in Trinidad right now. And they have opened their arms to a point to allow Venezuelans to come there. But it gets to a point where it is too much. And the problem in Venezuela isn't getting any better. So the people are steady coming. So there are different perspectives to look at this from. There's a perspective of of the refugee, the ones fleeing the crisis. There's also the perspective of the country, trying to, first of all, take care of its own citizens, right? So Amnesty International, they don't like what's going on, obviously. And so they put together this, came across this article where they said, talking about the Trinidad government, said, while failing to condemn the massive human rights violations in Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago authorities have prioritized a response focused on protecting national security, border protection, does that sound familiar, rather than finding ways to fulfill its human rights commitments. It continues to hide behind the excuse that it has no national refugee legislation and argues that those fleeing for their lives are committing criminal offenses, an assertion that also contradicts international human rights law. So they are saying that many of the faith-based organizations and NGOs and stuff within Trinidad are doing a good job of opening their arms, but the Trinidadian government is hostile. This is what Amnesty International is saying towards those fleeing persecution. So, and obviously, from Trinidad's perspective, they're saying, it's too much for us to handle. We've welcomed thousands already. We can't accept anymore. And they intercepted a boat the other day and sent back the people. And then they even there's a picture of them that they had some, they had them in like jail, and there was one at a family in jail, and you saw like a little baby in jail, right? So it paints that bad picture. So with that said, I mean, that's the situation. You have people fleeing persecution, hunger, all sorts of things, just looking for an opportunity. And then you have the country, Trinidad, trying to, maintain, its own with its people. And, they don't have unlimited resources. So that brings about the conflict. So a lot of people are saying that there are similarities with that and the US, and how the US, protecting its borders from, the Central Americans, primarily Central Americans who are fleeing persecution and violence and all sorts of things, and trying to, get to the border and claim asylum. And then Trump, I'm talking, build a wall, build a wall, build a wall. And so people are comparing similar attitudes. So do you see any similarities? I'll start off with our honorary Trini, Tex. Any similarities between what the Trinidad government has to deal with in managing the refugee crisis, the Venezuelans, and what the US has to deal with in managing the crisis of the Central Americans? Your thoughts? In your best Trini accent, please.
No, can't do that. Let me start off by giving the people some facts about Venezuela. Back in the 50s, I think late 50s until about the early 80s, Venezuela was one of the most prominent oil-producing basically states in the Caribbean, South America, basically. Mm-hmm. So, they're going from being, sustainable, middle-class people to recently basically experiencing food shortages, lack of health care, blackouts, and things like that. So again, like Chris said, they're all searching for a better way and a better life because the economy there is just shot. Mm-hmm. Now, going back to the real question, do I see similarities? There are similarities. But one thing we have to look at is the amount of people in Venezuela versus the that are facing crisis versus the amount of people that are facing crisis in our neighboring, cities like Mexico and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
In the last, I think in the last 5 years, more than 3 million people have fled Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
3 million. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a small country
A lot of people.
itself.
Yeah, that's the population of Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to sustain. So similarities are there, but the approach has to be different. We're going to need help from not only neighboring countries and things like that. It's going to take basically a global effort, to help these people. Now, I'm not. Y'all might be able to basically verse me on this, but as far as the economic situation there and who's in power right now, I don't see the situation getting any better. And Venezuela has one of the richest oil reserves in the country. So I don't know what needs to be done in order to rectify that and get that better. It's just that what I was reading is that the reserves aren't being mined efficiently like they used to. So I don't know if that's attributed to greed or, just a lack of leadership at this point in time, because they wanted Chavez out, they got him out, now look what you got.
Yeah. So I mean, that's, I keep bringing up that history because I don't know all the factors that contributed to them falling off. I know things are as bad now as they have ever been, and add on to that the political turmoil. Where the last, after Chavez died and, after the last man won election, it was that fraudulent election, the people, just point out all these ways in which it was stolen, and then they tried to overthrow him and that didn't work. So there's the political turmoil and then sanctions from other, from other countries like the US. And so all of them kind of just pile on top of each other. Plus the whole, the socialism structure where the government controls the resources, so it's not really efficient distribution of goods and that sort of thing. So it all just kind of fell apart. And
from 58 to 80, I think they were a democracy, and that's when they flourished.
Yeah, and then Chavez come in and change everything, and hey, that's where they are now. But yeah, you're right. In the condition there isn't going to really change anytime soon with the present leadership. Especially what you say.
So hold on then now. So Trinidad can't make no more doubles or something? Right?
You know what?
Feed it.
I'm gonna tell you something, because you brought up that's a valid point. Because when I
make triples.
When I visited Trinidad, I was wondering why, and I'm not looking at color because be honest, as Caribbean people, we don't really see color because wherever we go, there's a mixture of people. So I'm wondering why all these Trinidadians are speaking Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't until somebody actually educated me on it that these were
Venezuela
coming over to make a better living. Yeah. And then I realized, okay, the type of foods that they were selling and things like that. So, that's a good point. But especially what I saw was because they are vending and trying to earn a better living, and they're willing to take less than minimum wage jobs when it comes to building structures and things like that. They're taking away jobs from the Trinidadians, and I saw that firsthand.
They always say that. People,
they always say, That's the same thing.
Something. The fact is, when you have a crisis like that, you have a lot of organizations like UNICEF will step in and help the country, sustain the impact of all these people coming in. It's not like they have to do it themselves. I'm pretty sure America will be more than willing to send them a package. And even Jamaica and Cuba sometimes help out when we have these crises. So they're using that as an excuse as not to take the people, but there really isn't. If we have people in this country that needs to move to survive, I think the country should take them, right? Because everybody else will help out. I'm pretty sure Europe will help. France always extending a big hand. So we have other countries that will help you. So don't just say, okay, they're gonna steal jobs. What kind of jobs? You mean like building roads or making doubles? What kind of jobs? Right? They say the same thing here. They don't want a lot of Mexicans come here because they're stealing the jobs. Really? The same jobs that you don't want.
Yeah.
So, it's just an excuse. They can take them.
Yeah. But I mean, so yes, you're right in that same thing is said everywhere. Like when I was you notice this when you travel, there are similar attitudes everywhere. So like I mean, but in the UK, they speak that way about like the Eastern Europeans who come there. So that so you'll see a lot of them, doing the quote unquote menial jobs, sweeping and cleaning after people and all that. So their attitudes are about them. And so when I went to Puerto Rico, they spoke that way about the people from the Dominican Republic. They come in and they do these menial jobs. They're taking our jobs. That's why I love talking to people when I travel, to just hear about things going on there. And now when I went to the Dominican Republic, that's the way they spoke about Haitians. They come here, take our jobs, and so on and so forth. So there will be always those attitudes. But and to the larger point, because this is a crisis that isn't going to really go away anytime soon, it can't be Trinidad's alone to bear, right? They are the closest country, so they're going to get a lot of. I think the Prime Minister was saying they have more Venezuelan refugees per square mile per capita than any other country in the world, and that's just proximity. They're right there. If it was Jamaica right there, then it'll be the same thing. So this is the world's problem. It can't just be Trinidad's problem. So the U.S. embassy, the Trinidad's ambassador to the U.S. was saying that the U.S. has contributed like $1.2 billion towards efforts in Venezuela to try and make things better there. That's probably buying food, buying medicine, giving people reasons to stay there, or just help them out during the crisis so that they don't have to flee. They're saying that's what the U.S. has done, and also said the U.S. has also given $11 million to Trinidad to help them during this crisis. So this is going to take a global effort, because it's the world's problem. And it kind of points to a bigger issue. These refugee crises, these things happen for all sorts of different reasons. Whether it be the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, people getting bombs blown up all the place, so people flee, and those people flee and they go to some other nearby country, and then they're in these refugee camps, and then their efforts globally to settle them elsewhere. So similarly, when these things happen, whether it be for economics, whether it be for war, or for any other reason, when they happen, it is the responsibility of the world to step in and help to alleviate the problem. So, Special, I have a question. Yeah. What should be the role of CARICOM, of the other Caribbean nations? Not necessarily CARICOM, the entity, but of other Caribbean nations. What should be their role in helping out Trinidad?
Well, it's not just about helping out Trinidad. It's just helping out, all the people that from Venezuela that needs help, because everybody don't really have to go to Trinidad. There are other Caribbean countries. So CARICOM can help distribute people who want to leave, or if they have another Caribbean company of their choice that they want to go to. It should have an easy transition for them to go there, establish themselves there, provide financial support, medical support or even training, because all of that is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one Caribbean country is ever going to leave another Caribbean country just there struggling with immigrants. They're not going to do it. They never have. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why CARICOM was established. Make sure we help everybody. No, we have differences and we might not like each other sometimes. But when we have this kind of crisis, you find that Caribbean people have very big hearts. It's not just because of soca, right? Or carnival, right? We have very, very big hearts and we will help one another.
Party better than roti.
So party better than everything, including
some bad roti though. Some duck roti. Jesus.
So it's not an issue.
Red stripe better than Carib. Anyway,
that is true.
Yeah, it's not an issue if CARICOM will help. CARICOM will help.
So go finish up.
Yeah, but we have to actually see one country trying to make a difference first. That is how it usually happens.
Yeah,
one country trying to make a difference and everybody else step in.
I would actually like to find out what is the official position of CARICOM with that, because I think you're right, but there should be an official position. Like I said, from Trinidad, I understand it from both perspectives. I understand. Look, any one of us, if we live someplace and not have food and have medicine, we're going to do what we need to do to survive. We're going to get to where we need to get to survive. Understand their perspective.
Here's a question for especially. So how do you handle this? Now you're saying that CARICOM should, handle Venezuela directly. Here's a problem when you open those floodgates. You're gonna have a boatload of people wanting those benefits, versus if you deal with refugees that actually escape and go to Trinidad or one of the neighboring islands. So what do you tackle? And I think that's their position. Do you go to them directly, or do you handle the position with the refugees in the neighboring islands?
I think you can do both, because let me give you a scenario. Same thing happened when Louisiana was flooded and all of them was coming to Houston. People were saying, no, we don't want them. They're going to pressure our economy.
Build a wall.
A lot of bad people coming, criminals coming. But as you can see, years later, it worked out, right? We had help from other neighboring states. We had even help from international help.
Right?
That wasn't the whole state of Louisiana, though.
No, exactly.
It was a ton of people coming to Houston, and a lot of and not all Houstonians were welcomed with open arms.
No, they weren't.
I agree with that. They were not. In the last 6 years, 3 million people have left Venezuela. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, they're not all in Trinidad.
We have enough space. We have enough space in the Caribbean to hold all those people.
So there, I heard some, and I don't think it was about this. What they're talking about, probably is immigration with the U.S. and Central America, saying that there's both a push and a pull that has to be dealt with. The push is, conditions within the country are so bad, they have to leave. The pull is things are so great in the other country, it attracts them there. So from a push standpoint, a lot of the thinking has to be done from the global community to say, how can we make the situation in Venezuela better? Yes, we know it's challenging, we know it's difficult, but how can we incentivize those people to not want to get on a boat with 30 people and then drown? I mean, and so I have similar thinking here, like with Trump when he locking off the border and all that. One of the things that his administration thought would be a good incentive for countries is if we stop helping them, if we stop helping Guatemala, so basically make things worse there. So if we make things worse there, stop giving them this money, then they will decide to do more for their people. No, it actually has the complete opposite effect. It makes the people want to leave more. So I think the global community needs to, probably U.S. primarily because U.S. is the global power, but also it's within this hemisphere. Though the U.S. has done a lot, I think there is a lot more for the U.S. to do. And not just with sanctions and all these things, but how can we make life better for the Venezuelans? That's ultimately, look, nobody gets up and just want to leave their country just for the hell of it, right? If we could make the same living we make here in Jamaica back in the 80s, we would have never left. So, you know what I mean? So everybody kind of wants to stay where they are. So I think that's kind of where the thinking has to be. So both things have to be dealt with. I think the load of refugees fleeing, which is an immediate issue, that has to be distributed throughout the Caribbean, throughout the world. Trinidad can't handle all these people. And we have to do more to help them in, the Venezuelans in this crisis, so they will not want to leave. So I think we solved it.
I tend to believe that, look, when the country stabilizes, most people want to go back home. Just like you said, they want to go back.
Yes.
Especially the elders that they were there their whole life. And that is what they know. It is so much harder for them to change, right?
Yep.
And if they could go back, live in peace, and earn a livable wage, I'm pretty sure they'll go back. So it could easily be a temporary situation.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. So I think this is one of the things that, there's a few episodes back we're talking about from the Caribbean community. What are some things that are on our priority list for this new administration? I think that is one area in which we should mobilize with others, to get more engaged within the situation within Venezuela, and then the offshoot effects that happen throughout the Caribbean. So that matters. So I think we pretty much solved that, fellas.
Yes,
So time is money. Tex, you want to set it up? Go on.
Yeah, so I was reading an article the other day where, oh Lord, I don't have the text of it, but the gist of it is a gentleman
It's probably
was
the same on that. Yeah.
The gentleman was I think incarcerated for 15 years, and we just found out a couple months ago that he was actually innocent of the charges.
Yeah.
And the county or city he was in basically stated that, they should issue him a check for the time. So that's where Chris is getting the term "time is money." But we would just want to talk about, these situations and where people are incarcerated for years, saying that they're guilty and they're actually innocent, and then they're let go without, for lack of a better term, a pot to piss in. And we have to really think about the lives that are impacted in these situations. A mother lost a son, a father, lost a son, a daughter lost her dad. And, these people are in jail at this time, proclaiming their innocence, lost whatever type of job they had at the time, lost whatever home, lost whatever family, because at this point, you don't know, what the situation is. You have somebody proclaiming their innocence, but the law is saying they're guilty, and they're in jail for 10, 15, a year or two, you might be able to, 5, 10. Come on now, your wife moved on, your husband moved on.
Jeez.
I mean, it's over for you. So, we were just trying to discuss, monetarily, how do you compensate that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, or do you think it should be compensated? Because we've talked about it before, and I know I'm a big advocate for this, is, in this country, you're, guilty until proven innocent, but that's not what they say. If you're accused of something, you have to put up money in order to stay free to prove your innocence. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. So we need to actually reevaluate the system and come up with a better plan. What y'all say about it?
Yeah. So, Boy, nothing but me more when I see these stories. Sean King posted one, must be like last week. A man who was incarcerated at like 20 years old, and maybe like 50 years later, you know, found out that he was innocent of the charges. So this man, he went to prison as a young man and come out as an old. So that's like 40, 50 years that he just completely missed.
A lifetime. It's a lifetime.
You cannot compensate somebody for that. You can give them whatever. You cannot compensate anybody for that. But so and this may or may not be the case you're talking about, Tex. But it's happened in Houston. This young man named Alfred Brown. He was convicted in 2003 of killing a cop in a check cashing store robbery. He wasn't even there, right? And he had alibi and all that, but you know, again, it's the defense that you can afford and blah blah blah, and
guilty
so
until proven innocent.
And again, so because it was the killing of a cop, so this man was literally on death row for 10 years. I don't know how his case got, you know, but he proclaimed his innocence all along. Somehow his case got to be reviewed and then they released him. So he spent about 13 years in jail, 10 of them on death row. And so there are the federal government, DC, and 35 states have compensation laws for the wrongly incarcerated. Right? Texas is one of those states that has compensation laws. Now, here's the thing with this man. I don't know how they determine the amount. I'm sure it's the years multiplied by some factor.
They have caps. Some of them have caps. You can't get more like 4 million.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm sure every state does it differently. Yeah. But the state of Texas determined that this man should get $2 million. You know, for those 12 years. Now, you think that's it? They're $2 million and done. That's the law, right? Texas's comptroller said, no, we don't think he should get it because the judge wasn't within his jurisdiction to declare him innocent. So what like the comptroller, you ain't no judge.
Hey, let's not talk about these Texas comptrollers now. We don't want to go there.
That's the of course, you know, it's a black man. For some reason, they decided that the judge was wrong. The comptroller saying the judge was wrong. This man should not get this money, even though it's the law. Luckily, that was appealed. It got to the Texas Supreme Court. Texas Supreme Court said that's nonsense, and the man got his $2 million. But imagine that. After being on death row for 10 years, Brown incarcerated 13 years, and you know, here's a few $1 million for your troubles, and then you're not done with the nonsense yet. They're still coming in and saying, you know what, you don't deserve it. That's just part of the deal. You know what I mean? That's infuriating, man.
The thing about it is that you see that is part of defunding the police. And a lot of people don't understand the whole process that they're trying to do. The police is set up to do too much, and that is why they make so many mistakes. It's just like the other day they arrested this guy at the mall eating with his kids and his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and
I saw
the
that.
cops came in the mall and they say, hey, you match the description of somebody that we're looking for, and arrested him right on the spot. And the guy was like, it wasn't me. And his
I'm
girlfriend
sitting here with my
was
family
like,
eating.
It wasn't him. They're like, hey,
black man.
Black man dreads.
Black man and dreads.
You know,
that's all they said. That was the only description.
Man,
right. So the only person that would be,
you know how easy that could be one of us. You know how easily it is for one of us to fit the description?
It wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be
Not,
you.
not for Dreads, but no, I'm saying on just any other occasion.
Exactly.
Somebody call and say, black man, you know, bald, you know, whatever. Yeah. Something that matches some characteristic about us. And then, you know, that is really a scary thought. You know, whether it's a police come and they think, you know, they know you committed a crime. You know, in their mind, they know it's you. And so they're going to treat you a certain way, come draw a gun and whatever, end up dead, or somebody identify you as the person who did this robbery and you had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so my question there is, do you think that people that were embarrassed like that, traumatized kids and the mother like that should be compensated also? What do you think about that?
So if it's a situation where people can sue you for defamation of character and get paid, why not? It's the same thing, right? Because in the situation you were talking about, especially, the man said all you had to do was ask me some simple questions and I would have, let you know what was going on, and you would have realized that I'm not the person
you're looking
what
for.
They did was the man was sitting eating his whatever he was eating. Yeah. While he was sitting, they handcuffed him. They walked him and walked him off while his son and his wife were sitting there. You understand what I'm saying? So
in front of the whole mob.
In the whole mob. Yeah. And he did not do anything. So in that situation, nobody knows how it turns out. So it's the same thing as,
Well, the captain, the one thing that I knew happened, the captain came out and apologized. That's what he said.
Did. Fuck that. But did he apologize?
We're sorry.
The food
that was out there.
Those people probably don't even know how that story ended. They just say,
"That's my point."
Looks like they got him. They got him.
And just another brother went to jail, locked up.
That's exactly. And so the next time that man is in that mall, somebody saw him. Hey, that's
that's the one that got locked up.
So should the police that do stuff like that, should they be arrested?
They should be held responsible. And it should be punitive to them, whether it be suspension without pay or what they have to fight the union or whatever. But yes, it should be punitive to them, and the person that was wrongfully done that way should get compensated some kind of way. I'm saying it's $1 million, but compensate them some kind of way.
It was really as simple as something like, if the man is sitting there and you see his no threat, he's with his family. You walk up to the gentleman. Do you mind if I talk to you for a minute? Because we got a call and you kind of fit the description. So I just want to rule you out for, what may have you. Can you come with me? And I'm sure the man would have been like, it ain't me, but let me come see what you talking,
Exactly.
See what you're talking about. Instead of just handcuffing a man like that. I mean, come on, man. You don't do that. And the man was visibly upset and he was belligerent throughout the whole thing, which I understand because he did nothing wrong. And you're right, especially the captain did. I have to give him credit because he was over apologetic. I had never seen that.
He was.
Nah, I don't. I don't care about your apology. That apology. What Jamaican says, sorry, can't buy soldier lard.
Can't buy soldier lard. But Chris, anybody else that messes up on their job like that, you get fired or even you're paid off. I think the cop should be held.
Yes,
the way you get to people, mess with their money.
Yeah, exactly. So if and that's something we've kind of discussed in here for something like that. I wouldn't fire the cop, but hey, a 2-week suspension without pay. Now the next time you get a call about somebody, you're going to handle it differently.
Yeah,
but because they have no fear of anything happening to them, that's why they can just shot somebody, can arrest the wrong person, whatever.
Let me tell you something, Chris. Let me tell you the funniest part of the captain's apology.
Was this in Houston?
No, I don't think it was in Houston.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But let me tell you what the captain said. You know what he was going to reprimand them for? Not wearing a mask. That is what he said.
While he was eating.
The cop, they're talking about the cop, you know. They're gonna reprimand the cops for not wearing a mask. Out of everything that happened, yeah. Out of everything that happened. The only punishment is gonna get the cops is because they weren't wearing masks. That's what they said.
You know, so it's the police set us out of control. We can
established that.
Yes, and it's not just against black people, right? It's police immune to any consequences. That is the overall issue. Yes, it's primarily against us, but I mean there's a situation in Florida with so this lady who was in charge of like data analytics for the state of Florida, was putting out these dashboards about the corona, the COVID. And so she was telling the truth. But way back in like March, April, Florida wanted to kind of cover up the facts. But she was telling the truth with her dashboards. And so they eventually fired her because she was telling the truth. So she decided to now do this on her own after she got fired. So she was still getting data of what the true facts are. Florida's government saying one thing, but she has access to the real numbers and is putting that out there. So she's been kind of at war with them that way. So about 3 weeks ago, police kick in our door.
Yeah, I think
white woman and her white family and her white kids. And she had the camera set up there in the house. Police come and beating our door early in the morning, and take her a while to get up. And so she put on some sweats and go downstairs, and police come in and draw guns. And what they
I saw that.
Yeah, they're accusing her of something about send an email or something that was non-violent.
Yeah.
And they come in.
My kids and my husband are upstairs.
And they come in with guns drawn, pointing at her, pointing at the kids. So they and you know what? And I've seen her interviewed a lot of times since then. And besides the fact of no apology, it's like nothing is going to happen to these cops. Nothing. And they had no grounds. Yes, of course. Okay, let's say they have grounds to come and knock on the door. What are you drawing your gun for? You know how easy something like that can result in somebody being. I mean, and the white woman said this. She was like, I think, if had I been a person of color, this would have ended up differently.
She did. She actually did. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, they're just out of control, man. So.
Because I always reflect even the story that I saw on TBS about this social worker that was arrested while she was naked, right? She finished her shift and went home, taking her shower. Cops kick off the door. Wrong information. They didn't even look at the house properly. Yeah, wrong house, wrong information. They're looking for a 23-year-old guy. They kick off this 50-year-old lady's door. She was just coming out of the shower and arrested her, right? And nobody checked the warrant until they went back to the station. Nobody checked it. Nobody checked it. You actually looking for a man and you arrested a woman. No,
a naked woman.
A naked woman.
Yeah.
Right? How are cops making these mistakes? How are they making this mistake?
Easily, because there are no consequences. When there are consequences to your bad actions, you think twice before doing certain things.
Since episode 1.
Literally since episode 1. Literally. Man. And like the polar opposite of all of this that we've been talking about now is, the white man's justice. The privileged white man's justice. And that it has never been on bigger display than it is with Donald Trump and the way he's going out now. Now, everybody's getting a pardon. Everybody who is rich, who is connected, who knows him personally. You have people who have literally lied to the FBI on multiple occasions. Not only did they lie to the FBI on multiple occasions, they pled guilty to lying to the FBI on multiple occasions, who now Trump decided he's going to pardon.
Was convicted and sent to jail or is still in jail.
Yeah. That's another conversation about the whole pardon system. It is so corrupt. I mean, if you're going to have something like that,
should there be a limit to the amount of president?
What there should be, it should be regulated because.
Yes.
And now here's what has literally happened with like 5 of the people that Trump has pardoned in the past couple of days. Because he has this pardon power, while Trump was being investigated for this, Russia business, he basically would out and out send out tweets, thanking them for being, just basically like dangling the pardon out there. Say, there's a case like with Michael Flynn, where at first he said he was cooperating with the investigation, right? And so that's big news. Trump started threats. They literally have a voicemail, which I've heard with Trump's lawyer calling Flynn's lawyer saying, I heard you're cooperating, just reminding you that, President thinks very highly of your, just basically saying, we got you, right? And once he left that voicemail, he stopped cooperating. And so there are like 4 witnesses to Trump's crimes that have been silenced because he had the power to say, I'm going to pardon you. So you just keep your mouth shut. You may have to do a month or so, but you're not going to deal with any consequences. So it's just ripe for corruption.
With a witness. That has to be
it is blatant obstruction of justice, blatant. But just the pardon itself. I mean, you had 4 men who are convicted of murdering Iraqi citizens, not as part of a war effort. They worked with some private contractor, straight up murdered Iraqi citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Blackwater, and are getting off with it. And so it's like that's what gets people enraged. We see the thing with Trump here within the past few months is doing a bunch of federal executions. I don't remember the exact number, but federal executions for federal crimes hadn't happened in decades. And here within the last 3 months, it's going to be more federal executions that have ever happened in like 100 years. And who do you think most of those people being executed are? Most are black, most are brown.
Yeah.
They have money to afford certain things. And so while he is on a record pace executing these black and brown prisoners, he is freeing rich, wealthy, white men left and right.
Well, I guess
these are the things that get people enraged.
His Secret Service, duties are going to be relieved soon. He needs private security, so I think that's why he's giving.
Well, he'll be able to afford it because people are still donating to his PAC.
People fooling, man. People fooling. Let's talk about that for a second.
You got to realize that he's still the most powerful Republican there is. So they're trying to stay in his favor.
Wow.
But watch here. Yeah, I mean, look here. I have learned so many things in the past 4 years. One of the things I've learned, I had no idea people could be so fooled. I really did not know that people could be so gullible. So you literally, this man who claims he's a billionaire, right? You believe he's a billionaire. That's one of the reasons why you supported him in the beginning. And after this billionaire has lost the election, he's still claiming he didn't lose. And he's telling you, sending you 5 emails a day saying, give me $20 to keep the fight. And I will get another term. And people, to the tune of $250 million since the election. He has raised that amount of money. And another part of this corrupt system, he does not have to spend that. He can spend that however he wants to spend it.
Whenever he wants,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
How in the hell is this possible? This place, man.
The
So
laws weren't written by us.
So you broke, lost your job.
Yeah.
COVID is hitting, and you're giving a man that is far richer than you more money.
And you're digging up $50 to go and send it.
Give to somebody who will be okay. You might be out of your apartment or house. And you're
the American
sending
dream.
this man money. I need a pack. I need a pack. How do I set up a pack?
You know what?
I mean,
you're right. Since there are no rules, you can't just send out emails and get money.
I need a pack.
Hey,
I'm starting a pack tonight. See the pack.
You can't knock the hustle.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
And still counting.
Oh, yeah, it'll
People
be
are still
300
donating.
before the year over with.
Again,
Because
I had no idea.
Now that he want to give everybody $2,000, oh, yeah.
They're definitely
more
going to
money.
give him
Oh, yeah,
part of
he's
that
fighting for us.
$2,000. Yeah.
Easy. I had no idea people could be so fool.
I'm still trying to figure out what kind of gun make that noise.
Hey, if you watch the Mandalorian have a gun that can do that. Now that I think
I
about
watched
it.
the Mandalorian.
Let's
A little gun that shoot birds.
let's get the people caught up to see what we're talking about. All right, people. I'm going to play this like a track, and then you'll see why we made that sound. I will do a little background, and I'm actually going to find a way to make a good point in all of this pesheng wang wang.
It's not gonna work.
Just hey, trust me, man. All right.
So
Let me play this like a track. This is what I'm talking about. I'll do this thing now. All right. Share screen. Tex, have a look of faith in your boy, man.
You have the floor, sir.
But God. All right. There it goes. All right. Yeah, you could hear it?
Yeah. It was a little choppy,
hear
but
the wing, yeah.
but we all know the viewers have seen it.
All right, so background on this. About a few weeks ago, that song went viral because they talking about the sound of a gun. The gun go, and so that's the way it said it. It was just funny. So it went viral for all those reasons. And you know what I mean? So here's where I go to actually make a point now. It's amazing how I look at things like when you're walking in your lane and doing your thing, how if you just keep grinding, how things can happen. So as a result of this, I don't know who first saw it and who started sharing it and who started making fun of it to the point where the thing gone all over the place. It has actually brought a lot of attention to him. And and come to listen some of his other music. He's actually a pretty talented artist. And so he was on stage, which is the show in Jamaica where they interview all kind of stars. So, and I watched
Winford.
Winford Williams. So he was on stage, right? Talking to Winford and him and Winford are from the same community and all sorts of things. And he was just telling his story. And was just saying, he's 26 years old. And he said he's been recording music from he was like 14, just trying to bust. right? And something like that, that people kind of take and make fun of. Now it bring him attention. Now you get this platform. Now you getting these thousands of views. Now you getting links with these different producers, and is making something of it. And so there's a thing that says, I don't know the exact phrase, but like luck is where preparation meets opportunity, right? So people might just say it's just luck, but if this youth wasn't grinding, way before this viral moment, writing music, doing this thing, then when that opportunity came, nothing would happen for him. So, I say all that to say, there may be people watching this who you've been grinding in whatever your thing is. When is this thing going to bust? When is this thing going to be bust? Keep grinding, and one day you don't know how it's going to happen. You can bust out of if God has it for you, it will be for you. So just keep doing your thing, and you never know how it's going to come out. So sound, pesheng wang wang, what that is, that's the sound of destiny. Tex, give me my props. Didn't I bring it home? I brought it home.
I'm on a new spiritual journey of positivity. So yes, you did. Yes, you did. You brought it home.
It's an example of how, if you're really true to your craft, and you keep grinding, as you say, and you're patient, you find out that a lot of artists, especially over the last decade, that is how they came out. One of my favorite ones that happened to us, Stylux with Me Love My Fatty, right? He wasn't really in the studio doing that, right? I mean, yes, he was an artist the whole time, but when he did that Me Love My Fatty, he was just at a party playing around, right? Somebody record him, and hey, is one of the biggest songs I went 2018. Yeah, so I mean, you just have to accept the mind frame of don't give up, keep doing what you love doing, and just be humble. It will happen for you. At least one. You have some iron balloon when I go bust. I'm telling that right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you have a talent, a really good talent, it will shine through.
Keep grinding.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And another person, it's a little different, but that with Chronix, right? Yeah. So Chronix, he was known in reggae circles, but what I think, I don't know if he would agree with this, but one of the things that kind of exposed him to a whole new audience just came out, randomly, where, for him to be on the Tonight Show and get an exposure to that audience. And the story behind that, Jimmy Fallon was at the resorts in Jamaica, and Here Comes Trouble was playing. And he was like, I like this. That's a nice track. And just asked, the bartender, who is that artist? And it was always a youth named Chronix. And Jimmy said, what? I need to get him on the show. So the time when Chronix came on the Tonight Show, he was a good artist, but he wasn't that big to be on the Tonight Show.
He never bossed. He never.
Yeah, we knew of him.
Yeah, but the Tonight Show artists didn't know of him. So and it goes to one of Chronix's songs. We do it for the love. We don't do it for the likes. You do it out of the love that you have for this thing. You are true to this. And once you in your lane doing your thing in that path, you never know what will happen to make your big break come. So keep pushing, man, whatever it may be. Tex, give us some wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, especially said, and you did, and I'm going to reiterate the sentiment, just keep on pushing. Because if you look at these big companies, they didn't, and I'm a big follower right now. I'm reading about Elon Musk and how he started off.
Genius.
He was a one man show, had basically ideas that everybody, were shunned against. They didn't want to touch him. And he kept on pursuing and grinding. And right now, I mean, almost, you might as well say he's the richest man in the world. And to people out there grinding right now and doing their thing, yeah, it might
Not
take
richer than Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff have some coins there, man.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, but guess what?
Yeah.
I bet you in 10 years, watch. But anyway, if you're grinding right now, and it's just you one, keep on grinding. Turn that one into 2, 3, 4, and eventually you'll get there. I mean, persistence is definitely the key.
Yeah, man. I mean, bust an Exentas. This other one now.
What? For technology.
You got talent, man.
Remind me of Baby Wayne.
Yeah, man. So, probably how long ago in Parliament that song.
Yeah.
And nobody paid it any mind. And then one little thing. So when I was watching it, I don't know if you kind of looked at if you see one, it's like his right eye. Is his right eye?
It's lazy.
No, it's like there's no eyeball there. And then the first time you see it, you're like, whoa. So so that Winfrey was asking him about it, and he said he was a construction worker. And that's another thing that when I hear him telling the story, I kind of respect him even more, right? Because a young youth like that, hustling doing all kind of foolishness. It was actually on a construction site doing a job. That's how he got hurt. He was on a construction site lifting up something, and there was some big piece of steel that him didn't see. Walk into it, and it just scrape across his eyeball. Oh, okay. Yeah, and so he said he can't see a little bit out of it, but everything is all white. So if you look at him, you see a picture of him, you just have the one eyeball, and the other one look like you don't have an eyeball at all. So anyway, I came across that last night, and I thought that was just
that's a cataract. He soon bust and get that fixed.
Well,
man.
The thing where you draw from that is if him have one eye and still a grind. So what him the man who have two?
Oh man,
what is the excuse?
There's such amazing stories out there.
Yeah.
I mean, with people with
no hand,
no hands, no legs.
Yep.
I mean, create masterpieces of art.
Yeah.
We have no excuse.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, once him lose that eye, just kind of make him, it make other senses. It's a good interview.
Enhance.
Enhance. And for you to probably that's his first national interview. He seemed ready for this. So anyway, that's a good note to end on after Trinidad building walls and all these things. Fellas, nice reason we turn up tonight. No women with us tonight, Looking at you.
It's all right.
Yeah, man. Special words of wisdom for the Christmas.
Viewers, all I can say is, be open-minded and a little bit more understanding of people that going through some things, and immigrants in general. We all have a big story. We all want a better life. So be nice, be pleasant, be helpful. We're all good people. We all have to be able to share this planet that we love so much, right? It's not just for one set of people, it's for everybody. So, just deal with people with an open heart, wear your mask, and take the vaccine when you get it.
All right. Special.
He had to say that, huh?
Take a vaccine.
Yeah. I ain't gonna touch that one. But just to continue on with especially saying, I mean, you treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. You understand what I'm saying? You know their name, you greet them, you keep it moving. We all want to be treated the same and serve a purpose. And if you have one goal and you have a dream, don't listen to what anybody else says. I mean, set your goals, strive for it, and continue to grind. You'll eventually meet them. Promise.
Good points, brothers. That something that special said. I forget exactly what he said, but we are all connected here, right? We can have these attitudes that is just me and my family, or just me and this country, but we are all connected. What we do impacts everybody else. Right. That's very evident with this COVID thing. That's not the U.S. can't do things one way and people do things another way, and then we get beyond this. That's evident with climate change. What we do here impacts these hurricanes that's happening in Jamaica and everywhere else. And in the case of what we talked about with Venezuela, what's happening in Venezuela is our problem. It's not just Trinidad's problem. It's not just Venezuela's problem. It's all of our problem. In God's world, there are no borders. It's just people, right? So us as people, how can we, live together?
Lives good, yeah.
Yeah. What can we do to better the life experience of our fellow brothers and sisters? If we kind of all had that attitude in all that we do, we can better our world in different ways. So keep an eye on this Venezuela situation. Let's get engaged with that, seeing what our government here in the US, our government back home, and what is being done about it, what can be done, how can we kind of further this conversation? Because, if you notice in the US, all the news coverage is very US centric. And that's very evident when you go to another country and so to kind of talk about the world. The US just talk about not even the 50 states, just these 48 contiguous states. But I mean, Alaska and Hawaii don't matter. But if we kind of need to just step outside of what's going on here and understand what's going on in the rest of the world, very close to here. All of us know a bunch of Trini people, some more than others. We just need to see what we can do to assist our brothers and sisters during this struggle. And by brothers and sisters, I'm just talking about our Venezuelans, our Trinis, and the whole crisis there. So, on that, friends and family, thank you for joining us tonight on this Christmas Eve. Wish you all the best. This has been a challenging year, as we all know, but if you are here on the show tonight, or if you're watching the show tonight, you've made it this far. And so there's a purpose for you. So thank you for joining us tonight. Check us out on rebelTV.tv is where this Just Reasoning episode will be. Check us out on Facebook.com/MySoulRebel, Just Reasoning group on Facebook. As we have these conversations, if you like what you see here tonight, share it. Tell a friend. Tell that friend to tell 3 more friends. I'm just taking this thing to the next level. All right? Until next week, bless upon yourself. One love. Peace.